Good afternoon, Dolphins fans. Welcome back to another edition of Dolphins on 5. I'm David Eversole, joined, of course, by Alfredo Arteaga. Want to mention our great sponsor, of course, at the 5 Reasons Network, Prize Picks Daily Fantasy. We have a little bonus Heat Celtics Prize Pick action at the end of this, so make sure you stay tuned for the whole show. Sign up with promo code FIVE. But, of course, this is Dolphins on 5, and we've got a huge Sunday night primetime matchup as the Pittsburgh Steelers visit us at Hard Rock Stadium. Tua Tagovailoa is back under center, so we've got a lot to talk about leading into this game. The quarterback situation for both teams is interesting, to say the least. So, Alfredo, thanks for joining me this Friday afternoon. What's the latest around the team heading into the weekend?
The latest around the team is that they're relatively healthy. The only thing that we're watching at this moment is Emmanuel Ogbah. He looks like he will be a true game-time decision. Terron Armstead looks like he's a go. He's going to start. And, of course, Tua Tagovailoa will start. The one that everybody was kind of worried about was Jalen Waddle, and it looks like he's a go also. So, and although, I'm pretty sure that he's going to be wearing like a harness, so maybe reaching for balls over his head that are thrown. I don't know if that's something that's in the cards, but he can still run, so he'll be a go. Durham Smythe is also a game-time decision, I believe. So it looks like they're relatively healthy, except for that one minor hiccup with Emmanuel Ogbah.
Break down the secondary group a little bit. Obviously, I know we've had week-to-week kind of different guys being injured or missing time. So give us a little breakdown on Xavin Howard and just kind of how the secondary is going to shake out after another week of missing some guys.
Well, the good news is that they haven't gone out to the free agent market, which means that some of the guys that they have returning, namely Kader Kohu and Keon Crossan, it looks like they're going to be goes. So if those two guys are there, then you're talking about the very bottom end of the cornerback group being Noah Benogany and Justin Bethel. Justin Bethel actually played pretty good last week. So did Noah Benogany. So they're not healthy in the secondary at all. They're probably lacking one guy. We know who that one guy is. It's Byron Jones, but his 21-day clock has not started as of yet. He has to be activated to practice for 21 days to be activated off of the PUP list. That has not happened. I'm betting that it happens sooner rather than later because he is at camp and he is working out. So I would say that's coming down the pike. And also for Austin Jackson. Austin Jackson is not going to be active for this game, but it looks like he might be returning to practice next week. So look for those two guys. Those are the two big names that we're waiting on here as far as the injury situation.
Yeah, I think it's going to be crucial to have as many guys as possible in this game. But let's talk about the Pittsburgh quarterback situation for a minute. So Kenny Pickett, this whole concussion protocol, I'm able to practice, but I'm in the protocol. What is your thought on this whole scenario? Obviously, being Dolphins fans, we're kind of familiar with the quarterback concussion merry-go-round. So, what do you think of the whole dynamic with this Kenny Pickett situation this week?
Well, I saw a stat where I believe it was 37 guys got diagnosed with a concussion this season. And out of the 37, 29 of them did not return the following week to play. This is the quickest anybody has actually passed the protocol. He passed it in, record time, 4 days or 3 days, because he actually practiced in full on Wednesday.
He's going to go like all week, basically.
Yeah, it was interesting. When I was watching the games last week and I saw my little scroll in the bottom that said Kenny Pickett concussion, I was already penciling in, okay, I guess the Dolphins are facing Mitch Trubisky this coming week. Oddly enough, I'd rather face Kenny Pickett. It's a rookie going against our defense. You got to think we'll be able to outthink him and confuse him for 4 quarters, more than we would a veteran that's probably seen it all in Mitch Trubisky. But yeah, I find it interesting to say the least and odd to say the most.
And what about the Dolphins' backup quarterback situation?
Yeah, it looks like Skylar Thompson will probably not be active for this game, which means that Teddy Bridgewater gets back to his old role as the backup quarterback. I don't think there's anything wrong with Skylar Thompson's thumb. It's probably just a little laceration. You saw the video of it on Sunday. It was a cut and probably a little pain, so it was probably making it impossible to throw a football or even grip it. But there's no word that he has a fracture or a broken thumb or anything like that, because if he did, he would be on IR already, especially before this game. So it looks like he'll be returning sooner rather than later as well. But Teddy Bridgewater will be the chief backup on Sunday.
And this is a very interesting game. Obviously, there's a lot of storylines, obviously outside of the field. So Brian Flores, of course, returns to Miami as a coordinator for the Steelers, obviously, and of course, Minka Fitzpatrick in the secondary as well. Kind of interesting, all these subplots within this game. And the Dolphins are at 3-3. Do you think? Would you call this a must win for the Dolphins so early in the season? I mean, it seems like this is a very important game with everything that's going on within the division and within the game itself.
Last night on Thursday Night Football, I think you had as close to a must win as you could probably get in week 7. But this is not a must win. But if you start reading the tea leaves, you start looking at the schedule, this is where they're supposed to fatten up. They're at home. It's Sunday Night Football. They're a 7-point favorite. They're favored in the next 5 games, which, you know, most people say they're no math major, but this, I'm actually a math major. and my math tells me if they just win the games that they're favored in the next 5 weeks, they'll be 8-3 and sitting really, really, really pretty, right? You can't get 8-3 if you don't get this one. This is a must win if you want to do what you want to do, right? But yeah, as far as the only real must win, it was last night. Like, that was a real must win by the Cardinals and the Saints, because 2-5, 3-4, massive difference at this stage of the season. So this is not a must win, but you kind of need it.
Yeah, I feel like you got to stop the bleeding though in this game. I mean, Tua's back. You know, Sunday Night Football at home, which the home crowds have been. These are the best crowds that I can remember in a long time for the Dolphins. So I think it's going to be an electric atmosphere. Like I said, Kenny Pickett under the bright lines. I'm hoping the Dolphins defense can kind of tee off on him. But, well, you know, what an exciting time right now with sports, obviously, with the Dolphins and the teeth of the NFL season. But you've got the NBA and now the NHL as well, both in action. So we're going to talk a little bit about the Heat and Prize Picks tonight. Obviously, our nemesis, the Celtics, we're facing. So what do you think about this game tonight for the Heat early this season after a disappointing season opener against the Bulls?
The very rare Game 2 must win for the Miami Heat, huh?
Yeah, it's getting critical around here this week. I don't know what the hell is going on.
It's Game 2 of 82. It is not a must win. But let's call this one a mental health win. This is a mental health win, right? Like,
you feel like against Boston, like, you know, let's beat Boston. We really
let's get this one, because you start the season 0-2 against the Bulls and Boston, and you start thinking to yourself, you know, I don't know, man. And at home, you start thinking to yourself, I don't know, are we good? Are we the same team we were last year? But, you know, it's a mental health win for sure tonight. Yeah. I expect the Heat to play a great game tonight. I really do.
It was a winnable game.
Yeah, it's Friday night in the NBA. For 1,000 years, it was called date night in the NBA for a reason. It was because home teams usually got the favorable whistles, and home teams usually win, right? So it's date night in the NBA for the Miami Heat. It's a Friday night. You can have a nice crowd out there. These tickets are going for a pretty penny. Like, this is kind of as hot a ticket as you're gonna find for Game 2 of 82. Mm-hmm. So it should be a raucous crowd. It should be a lot of fun. I expect a win tonight. And, you know, I guess we're going to build out a Prize Picks here.
Let's bring up the Prize Picks board and see what we want to do for tonight in terms of we're going to focus just on the Heat and the Celtics. So give me 1 second. I will bring it up. So going to start obviously on the Heat side.
Yeah,
I'm just going to throw some numbers out here.
Yeah, tonight they have it's Flex Friday. I think you can explain to our viewers what that means.
Yeah, basically it's a 15-time payout on a 5-pick entry. So if you go 5 for 5 on a 5-pick flex entry, you'll get 15 times your bet. Normally that would be a 10x payout on those. So I'm going to throw some numbers out, and you just give me your over and under. I'm going to start with who I got on the board. He was cooking in Game 1. Tyler, over under 2.5 threes.
That's an interesting one. The last time we saw him against Boston, he was non-existent. It's a new year. He's starting. He makes over 2.5 threes.
Yeah, I agree. I like him over. And we had a couple guys struggling in the first game against the Bulls. So the first one I want to do is Bam over under 16.5 points tonight against Boston, and a little bit of a depleted front court for the Celtics.
It's you start thinking about where the points are going to come from, and you got Bam at I don't know. It's a rough one, right? At 16.5 points, he could play a great game and score 12.
Mm-hmm.
We saw how he was against the Celtics, and I understand that
Robert Williams.
There's no Robert Williams there, but the points are going to come from somewhere else. You have two other guys that you have one guy in Jimmy Butler who sees Marcus Smart and just sees 40 points like on top of his head, right? Like most people see Marcus Smart and they see the green hair. Jimmy Butler sees Marcus Smart and he sees like a flashing 40 on
like
on
money.
his head, right?
It's like a dollar signs, like just the color of money.
So if we're building out, look, I don't want to touch Bam Adebayo against the Celtics. I thought he was terrible game one. So I would expect him to play better. But if we're going to take anything on Prize Picks with Bam, man, let's work on that assist number. It's at 2.5.
2.5, which he let me down on that one because I actually took.
Yeah, no, I had him game one. He got 2, and he got the last one with a minute left in the game. But I think we got to go to Jimmy Butler. It's 23.5 points. They're handing us this one. Jimmy Butler just plays well against Marcus Smart and the Celtics.
He'll get to the foul line too. I mean, Jimmy's going to get 6-8 foul shots in this one.
So I feel really, really comfortable with Jimmy Butler over 23.5 points. I just do.
Now you got to take one of these Celtics. I think is going to go over. So who do you like between Tatum and Jaylen Brown versus the Heat?
Well, that's an interesting one because there is no PJ Tucker, and I know that's been a sore spot. But
too soon.
Since there is no PJ Tucker, that's one less nemesis, right? Do we trust Caleb Martin to hold down Tatum? I don't know. Maybe it's a big Tatum day, right?
These are both interesting numbers. I mean, 24 and 23, respectively.
Yeah, man. You get Jason Tatum 24.5 points, and then you also have Jaylen Brown at 23.5. Like, if you can only take one, I'm thinking Jason Tatum is going to score, and he's going to score plenty tonight. So I'm also taking an over on Jason Tatum.
Yeah, I think Tatum will probably have a little bit of success there on in terms of the Heat's perimeter defense, which from year to year seems like that has been a little bit of a nemesis. So, all right, so for 5 picks, we got 2 more here. So what about Kyle Lowry? He had a rough game. I actually took him. He was my Prize Picks over 1.5 turnovers. That was like basically free money, unfortunately. And those are the props you kind of feel guilty about taking, but in the end, you're like,
but we're trying to hit this flex 5.
We're trying to make some money here. So,
hey man, are we going to just parlay this thing, just roll it over one more time?
All right. So, what do you think about Kyle? Do you think he tries to get a little bit more involved offensively? I mean, 11.5 points. That's kind of questionable, I think, for him at this point. I think he might hit another under on that, to be honest with you.
Look, is there a possibility that Kyle Lowry scores 25 tonight? I think that's impossible. Okay, that's impossible. But is it possible that he beats that 11.5 number? Yeah. Like, it makes me queasy. I'd rather just take something simple with Kyle Lowry. That 3
his assist numbers are down too.
Yeah, so it's that's the thing about Kyle Lowry, man. Like, he's at that point where I have to almost see it to believe it and to bet it. So, I hate to do this for a second guy, although we might revisit that Bam Adebayo assist number again to close out this Flex 5. But Kyle Lowry is a guy that I will not touch at all. Although, let's get on the turnovers.
He's not on the board for turnovers.
He's not on the board?
No, that's what I was really disappointed because that was definitely one I would go back to. Again, it's one of those picks, like, if it works, like, just keep playing it until it doesn't work anymore.
Well, shame on you, Prize Picks, because that should have been like a free square. You guys should have done like a promotion with that one today.
Like half a turnover.
Yeah, just good. So Yeah, I'm thinking don't touch Kyle Lowry today. Let's have nothing to do with Kyle Lowry.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that one. So, all right. So we've got Tyler over 2.5 threes, Jimmy over 23.5 points, Jason Tatum 24.5. I
Yep.
put Bam in over 2.5 assists. So give me one more from this game. Let's look at the rebound totals. So you can't use
Let's
the
get the
same guy
Celtics.
twice, obviously.
Right. So let's go to the Celtics. Okay.
I like Horford over 7.5 rebounds, actually.
That one's
Even though he's
interesting.
been under, I think he's kind of their only big, if you will.
That one's interesting. Another one that's interesting is Malcolm Brogdon over 3.5 rebounds. He's a really good rebounding guard. The problem is that he's going against the Heat guys. Heat tend to rebound well, especially at their guards. You know, can we fade Derek White? Maybe over his half steal. Can Derek White have more than half a steal? I don't know. You know, I'll let you call this one because
Yeah, let me look at those numbers for the steals on him, and then we're gonna wrap this up here. But Horford half a steal. We don't really have any steal numbers. Jimmy Butler, he's been at 1.5 steals in both these games so far. What do you think of that one?
I think we could do that one, right? Jimmy Butler.
No, we took Jimmy on the.
Oh, yeah, we already have
the
Jimmy
points.
Butler on the
I'll
point.
take Brogdon over half a steal. Honestly, I think Kyle could just throw one right to him.
Okay, Brockton. Let me.
You're not giving me Kyle Lowry turnover, so give me Brogdon half a steal. It's like he could kind of luck into that one, either him or White. One of those guys.
He had 2 opening night, right? So
yes,
you know that's something, and you know he's not going to start, is he? Derek White is going to start.
Yeah, it looks that way. Or Derek White, you know, he's had a steal, and obviously to open the season there. So either one of those. I mean, half a steal, you can kind of like, you know, it's sort of like playing roulette.
Yeah, you know what? Let's get on. You know, let's get on Al Horford. Let's get on Al Horford. I think he's going to play a lot, right? Like, why wouldn't he play plenty? Right? You know that big rotation is kind of a disaster.
So what are you thinking, Horford? Rebound 7.5, half a steal.
I like either, to be honest with you, but you can call it.
Yeah, let's take him at 7.5 rebounds. I just feel like you know, if the Heat are missing shots, he'll grab a couple easy ones, and he's going to be kind of their main presence down there. So get that 15x payout. So we're going to break down our entry for the 5-pick flex. Tyler over 2.5 threes, Jimmy 23.5 points over, Tatum over 24.5, Bam over 2.5 assists, and Al Horford over 7.5 points. We like guys to succeed. We're going to go 5 overs and hope for the best with this 15 times payout. So we'll be back for more Dolphins content over the weekend. And before we wrap, Alfredo, what's the 3 YPC schedule?
We'll be back on Monday to recap what happened Sunday night. But you could get our latest episode. It's up on all our feeds. We preview Dolphins Steelers Sunday Night Football. Should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's going to be a great game. And I want to thank everybody for watching. And make sure to sign up for Prize Picks code FIVE.